This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. August entertainment includes the $1 million Charlestown Classic Race and Festival. Enjoy live racing, live entertainment, food trucks, and more. Fun for the whole family. Details at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. 10 years ago today, on August 24th, 2014, the musical Newsies closed on Broadway with actor Cott taking a bow as protagonist Jack Kelly, having replaced Jeremy Jordan less than 5 months into the run. Cott would go on to play the male lead opposite Vanessa Hudgens in the 2015 Tony-nominated revival of Gigi, and opposite Laura Osnes in the 2017 Tony-winning musical Bandstand. I spoke to Cott for West Side Story in concert at the Kennedy Center in 2018 alongside Solea Pfeiffer, who played Eliza in the first national tour of Hamilton, and Eurydice in Broadway's Hadestown. We are here with the one and only Cott and Solea Pfeiffer, who are coming down to the Kennedy Center for West Side Story in concert with the NSO Pops. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks, Jason. Good to talk to you.
Now, is this both your guys' first time at the Kennedy Center?
Actually, not my first time. I was here 2 previous times. I performed at the Centennial Stage, and then I also performed our out-of-town for Gigi. We did at the Eisenhower. So this is actually my 3rd time, but I've never performed at the Opera House, so it's really exciting. I feel like I've almost hit every venue at the Kennedy Center now.
And this is actually, I'm lucky enough that this is my 2nd time performing at the Kennedy Center also. I came here during college when we were, my school, the University of Michigan, our musical theater program was chosen to perform with a lot of other amazing conservatories, and we got to do a short presentation. And it was such an honor to be included, and such an honor to be back.
That's so awesome. Yeah, well, all right, well, let's talk about the event itself, because, man, of all things, West Side Story, the songbook of that, and even the instrumental parts are just going to sound so epic with the NSO Pops. I mean, that dance at the gym is just going to be insane with an actual horn section.
I know, we can't wait either. We haven't heard we were just in rehearsal with the rehearsal pianists right now, who are incredible, but we're itching to hear the full symphony. It's going to be amazing.
It's just one of the most perfect scores of all time, and with this caliber of orchestra, it's just going to be perfection, really.
Mm-hmm. What are you guys, each of you, performing? Like, do we know what else? Give us a teaser of what songs we're going to hear.
Oh, you're going to hear the entire show.
Oh,
we're going to hear all of the entire score will be played.
Everything that's sung, you will hear
in order.
In order, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of this amazing hybrid of the full show, but it's abridged down to an hour and a half so that we can kind of it's pretty much the highlights of the show. So, some of the big dance arrangement sections are cut down a bit, but in terms of all the sung numbers, yeah, you'll hear everything in order.
It's kind of, we're calling it a concert with context.
Is that what that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that.
You get the full story and the full experience of West Side Story, but you'll be home before 11. Yeah, all the best parts of West Side Story, really.
That's so great. Well, let's go into some of the numbers that I know you guys will be performing as Tony and Maria. I mean, come on, two like probably the most famous tragic star-crossed lovebirds of all time. Let's start with you, Cott, singing Maria, the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. Have you ever performed
Hopefully it'll sound like that, Jason.
It sounds unbelievable.
I've never done Tony before. I've never even worked on, I've been taking voice lessons most of my life, and I've never really even dove into the West Side rep, which is kind of crazy. So this is my first go at all of these iconic songs like Maria and Something's Coming in Tonight, and I'm discovering more and more every single day, but it is a bit daunting because everyone has sung these songs from, Pavarotti to the most recent revival on Broadway. Every musical theater kid has wanted to sing these songs or has sung these songs. So I'm trying to, keep it mine and be honest with it while also staying true to Bernstein and Sondheim's text. And it's an amazing, I'm being challenged every day. It's awesome.
Absolutely. How does this even work? Like, what's the rehearsal process been for this?
It's a matter of preparation and just being surrounded by a lot of professionals who did a lot of homework on their own. I was lucky enough to have done this show about a year ago, and so I know a lot of this music, but everyone had done their homework, and on our first day, we sang through the entire show. And for the most part, give or take a few things that we then, cleared up, everyone knew their parts, everyone knew everyone knew their rhythms, and so our first day of rehearsal was pretty easy because we already knew the music, and we just got right to putting it up on its feet.
Absolutely. And Corey, for Maria, I mean, you know more about the musicality than I do, but it seems to me from an outside observer that one of the more challenging vocal parts in terms of range is when it's, when it's like, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. That B sounds like you have to go to another part. Talk about musicality on that song.
Yeah, it is. I think I was saying this we got together last week in New York and sang through the songs as a small cast, and afterwards I was saying to my wife, I think love has never been so captured so honestly in a score. From Between Maria and I Have a Love, I just, in terms of putting the idea of love into a melody, I've never experienced it like this way before. So what I'm trying to do every time I sing it is just remember the first time I fell in love and trying to sing about it. I'm trying to keep it really simple and just trust that Bernstein and Sondheim did all the work for me, and those guys are geniuses, and I would never want to taper or distort the integrity they wrote into their music. And so it's a kind of a combination of me bringing my own experience with love in my life to these insanely beautiful, complex, and at the same time simple melodies and rhythms, and just allowing my heart to be a vessel and sing about love and falling in love. And it's a lot easier said than done, but it's when it works really beautifully. So hopefully by next Wednesday it'll be somewhat close to that.
Awesome.
That's true. Valentine's Day. We have an extra opening night's Valentine's Day, so we have an extra little added element, yeah.
It's perfect for it. It's perfect for you. And for Solea, take me into. I want to drill down into one of your numbers. I Feel Pretty. How much fun is? I mean, that's your most upbeat, fun one, I think.
Oh yes, yeah. Every single song is so fun, but that one is just pure happiness. Kind of like what Corey was saying, just that feeling of first love, and no one ever forgets how they feel when they first fall in love, and it's really just about that, how love just lifts you up and makes you feel better than you are and makes you better just in general. And so it's really the easiest thing to sing about ever.
And tell me about your duets together, because you get Tonight, you get Somewhere, which, man, come on. There's probably never that's right up there with the most beautifully written, songs in theater history. But how's it been just doing the songs together? Because we kind of already went into, Maria as a solo number, and I Feel Pretty sort of for the other solo number. But together, the duets, what's it like up there together?
So when we first got together and Solea and I first met about a week ago and sang through Tonight for the first time, we both looked at each other afterwards. At least I had this feeling. Solea might have to confirm it for me. But and it was amazing how we were very much on the same page.
Yeah.
And how we were approaching it, the musicality, when we were taking breaths, what our phrasing was, and a lot of that I feel like
same on the first try. We were very much on the same page.
Yeah,
which is always a really good sign.
It is,
because it can always it can kind of go either way when you're starting a process like this with somebody. You can it's either pretty clear right away whether you're on the same page, and we definitely approached it the same way and have the same idea of how it should be sung, and it's just so fun. These songs are so fun to sing together, and yeah, we're having a blast.
Yeah, exactly. And one of my personal favorites is when you guys bring in everybody to do the Tonight quintet, when Anita and Riff and Bernardo and the Jets and it's almost like in a round. How epic is that going to be on stage when all your voices chime in together?
It's amazing.
It's amazing, yeah.
It's you can look through the course of musical theater history and see the more, this is my first experience with West Side Story, but I can see where so many other writers and shows stole their ideas almost directly from this piece. And but this to me feels like the original Act One, like true Act One finale, when every character is having their moment. It reminds me a lot of One Day More in a way, which came a good 25 years later, I think, or 20 years later. But this, I think, was one of the first times it implemented the idea of every character coming on stage and getting to sing about what their character is wanting. and it's genius because it's all everyone's singing the same lyric, but every character wants a different thing. So all of those melodies woven together, and between the Sharks and the Jets and Anita and Marie and Tony, it's so thrilling. It's incredibly thrilling.
And this ensemble is filled with some really, really beautiful voices. I haven't really heard this score sound this lush and beautiful ever really before, because they really filled this ensemble with incredible singers, people from the musical theater world and people from the opera world and people with all kinds of different backgrounds, but each with their own personal take on the material. But it's everyone is really blending together so beautifully.
Yeah, give me a little quick rundown of who Anita is, who Bernardo, who plays Riff, all those guys.
Yeah. Well, Anita is someone who I've always hoped I'd work with. Her name is Krista Rodriguez, and who is a Broadway veteran.
She was in Smash.
Yes,
correct.
Yes, she was. I loved that show.
Yeah.
I was sad when that show's over, but yeah, and Krista is amazing, and I feel like I've learned from her just from working with her. And she brings her own special take on this role. Our Riff, we love Riff. We love
Riff.
Ephraim.
I actually got to work with Ephraim Sykes. People might know him he played Seaweed in the Hairspray Live performance that was on NBC a couple years ago. But we did Newsies together on Broadway, and Ephraim's amazing because he is first, I guess, a dancer, and so the way he controls his body is amazing. But he's also an astounding actor. He's a true triple threat. He's an astounding actor and an astounding singer. So he brings this, he gets to sing one of my favorite songs in the show, Cool. And he brings this amazing, effortless swag to the role.
He really is.
He's got a rocket in his pocket.
Oh, he really does. Yeah, he's one of the cooler guys I've ever known. So it's very appropriate. And
our Bernardo, Joel Perez, he is a joy to work with and someone who has done some of the coolest shows on Broadway. He's in the original cast of Fun Home.
Oh, yeah.
And among other really, really cool projects. And so it's people, this entire company is just filled with people who have kind of been trailblazers in their own right. And so it's really, and none of us have, other than Ephraim and Corey, none of us have really worked together before. So it kind of feels like a new family that we get to kind of form.
That's awesome. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'm sure you did. But the West Side Story, before it even went to Broadway, it started here in D.C. at the National Theater. With
did it really?
Yeah, with Cheetah Rivera. Yeah.
We're bringing it back, Jason.
Bringing it home.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And to do it at the Kennedy Center, I actually talked to Rita Moreno when she was getting her Kennedy Center honor there on the red carpet. Yeah, right? Come on. I asked her if she had any words of healing between the Sharks and the Jets after all these years later, and she just snapped right back into character and said, screw those guys. I hate the Jets. Yeah. It was so great.
Oh, man, what a legend.
Yeah, big shoes to fill, but you guys can totally do it. I have faith. What else?
Do our best, Jason.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Just speaking of the Sharks and Jets, though, and that sort of rivalry, and obviously based on the Montagues and Capulets from Romeo and Juliet, but, why do you think that even thematically, that whole, forbidden romance between these two, partisan sides, if you will, is still so relevant? It feels like, especially here in D.C., everyone's always retreating to their separate corners, but how does this story, even after all these years, kind of bring together people from opposing camps, let's say?
Yeah, it's one of the amazing and sad things about this show is that throughout American history, it has always remained relevant. It is always, I think right now, everyone has been saying now more than ever, but you can really always say that about this show. And I think this show kind of, like many other amazing pieces, it holds up maybe a mirror to America, holds up a mirror to society, and makes us think a little bit more about how we judge people who we feel are other from us, when we really have a lot more in common with each other than we think.
Yeah.
And that really, that love heals us all.
Yeah, and also I think our culture is very, even it feels to me at least right now, very very tribal in a sense. Yep. We all have it, whether politically or culturally. We have our corners and our people that we agree with, and then everyone else is wrong. And there's it's a much more contentious time right now to even have a dialogue about certain issues. And I think in this way, the show's a metaphor. It couldn't be a metaphor for that right now, is that let's find a way to discuss our differences and not try to kill each other just because we're different. But let's have a dialogue
And let's celebrate these differences.
Right. Celebrate
rather than let them divide us.
And try to understand them rather than the opposite.
Right.
Well, rather than let them drive us to violence,
Right.
which we are seeing more and more
Yeah.
in the news and what's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what I think so genius about that whole back and forth that during the song America, it's they're both of them are giving like the pros and cons, and it's life is all right in America if you're all white in America, and man, that was written back then. It could still be sung today. It's crazy.
It rings. It's completely true now. All of it.
It's almost funnier now.
It's crazy. Yeah, you listen to it and you're like, this could have been written yesterday about exactly what's happening now, and it's what makes it amazing, but also just makes it very, very sad. Very. There's a kind of I think in 2018. Those themes become even darker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah.
Well, it's sort of a tragic, cathartic warning, I guess, by the end, but it's also going to be really upbeat and fun. So in closing, the big question, are we going to get any snapping?
Boy,
do you even have to ask that, Jason? Would it be West Side Story without snapping?
No, you couldn't even do it. No, exactly.
No.
Well, I guess my question is, because we had the orchestra behind you, how much is it you guys sort of at a stationary static mic, and how much is actually moving around, dancing, snapping, all that kind of stuff?
None of it is at a stationary mic,
Nope.
actually.
We're
moving the whole time.
So it's a performance.
It's very much a performance.
Yep.
We are running all around. We're dancing. We're really. I mean, it's almost like
It's definitely staged. You're not going to see Jerome Robbins' choreography or anything like that, but there is the essence of each moment is there. It won't be the full idea of what you see in the movie or even in a full production, but it is the essence of each scene and the movement, the essence of the movement in each scene.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait. It is going to be so much fun to see that with an orchestra. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us, guys.
Thank you, Jason.
for having us.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.